That's where it's like $100 extra they kicked back in,
Okay,
but it's free, we enrolled in it. And if it happens every time that we get at least another 100 back, it's 100 that we would have left on the table.
sure.
So just for the record, for everyone's awareness, apparently the microphone was on mute up to this point. So we've just unmuted the microphone and now the recording will reflect audio.
Okay. Do we need to go back and review anything or
We'll have the minutes of the meeting. I just think it's fair to make sure, since this is gonna be posted on YouTube, it's important that we kind of explain what just occurred.
Okay,
And
maybe,
that no decisions were made or.
well, the only thing we did was we approved the meeting minutes.
Yeah.
We asked for citizen comment, there was none. And now we've been discussing the EMS billing summary, no other action.
Great summary.
I had a question, and maybe this is gonna, I mean, when we get into the payment, draft payment policy. This might be related to that, but so if you look at on page in the second, where it says 12-month data service. And also spec primary payer category, so it's that second page. So you go back, it looks like we're going back about a year. So we got 2 trips that happened in November, so they're now about a year old. They were partly, or there were gross charges of 2,246. This is under Medicare. The Medicare payments got paid, and there's still a balance due. So does that mean Medicare's paid out what they're gonna pay out, and then they're so in order to collect the remaining, we would have to bill the patients essentially.
Correct, it would have to be a direct bill.
Right, okay. And that's kind of what we're gonna be discussing today, or is there a process in place to,
Right now, no,
okay,
but we will discuss that, and that's a couple of different options that I drafted in there. I believe that would have to be your recommendation to the board of how you'd like to pursue that.
right, okay. Just wanted to make sure that, so what we're gonna be talking about would affect sort of those, people in that category, and then I think there's a balance due under the patient. There's a couple that are getting, couple from December, it looks like, of 2024. Or it was under insurance, for that private insurance, and there's like a $339.80. So those are the ones that we need. Okay. I did notice that the percentage of collections seem to have gone up, like we're collecting 37% of the balance, so that seemed higher than it had been earlier. So
I'm sorry.
Jeff, for clarification, if they have Medicare only pays a certain amount, are we allowed to bill the?
Beyond what Medicare will pay, we write off that dollar amount, so that's one of the things the board. So if they say, we'll reimburse you for $400 and say the bill is $1,200. That $800 was the program I was talking about from the state that we enrolled in to help kind of cover some of that difference.
Okay.
But beyond that, that's what Medicare and Medicaid pays for, and EMS services are stuck
okay, got
with
it.
that
All right.
left over.
So that wouldn't be
No
subject to
ability to,
collections.
Only through the state program, that's the only one that I know of. I've
So
never
no
seen something
direct-
beyond that.
direct
No, not
bill.
a direct for those.
Yeah, if you're Medicare, they pay their amount, but that's it. It's not responsible.
Okay.
I think
If they have-
it's like
if they have
$440.
Yeah, private insurance or no insurance, they would be responsible. So,
I think,
under, right, not on Medicare,
yeah,
correct.
where Medicaid, same thing.
yeah, they just raised that amount for January 1st, but it's like 2%. It's very small.
They doubled, it went from 79 to 159
Oh, yes.
on Medicaid.
Yeah.
With the new bill.
So then, for example, so the ones under Medicare, then there's nothing. So that's just, okay, so then if you look under insurance, so the one from December 2024, there's 2. Their net charges of 2,389, payments of 2,049.20, leaving a balance of 339.80. Is that, well, what does that reflect?
So those are the ones that if I would have to talk to our person for sure, but I believe what those are is the ones that we would be billing directly to the person.
Okay.
Because they haven't paid, and that's where the collections part would come in that we're gonna talk about tonight.
Okay, and then under the patients category, there's one from January of 2025, what was the $250 charge,
Mhm.
and then it's up listed as a write-off. So what would that refer to?
I'd have to look at that one specifically. That could have been something like a lift assist or something to that effect.
Okay, there's actually, there's three listed under write-off, and then the others are, looks like they're probably transport, just curious, like. Why that's a write-off,
A charge that low is probably gonna just be a lift assist would be my guess.
okay, and then what about the next one, the 1,411.60?
That may be, you know, I can get you an answer on that. I'm not sure, to be honest.
I was just curious what makes it a write-off versus a balance due.
And it might be a write-off for the billing company after they've not been able to collect it for 120
90 days.
90 days, 120 days. And then what we'll also be talking about later is what do we do with those
Okay.
after they've.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? On the EMS billing summary we had this time? All right. Everybody's got a chance to look at it, but hearing none, we will move on to review and discuss draft EMS bill policy. So we've got a draft policy that was included in the packet. Chief, you want to walk us through it?
So this gives you a couple different options. If I would like to pursue and someone does not pay their bill. Essentially, for 90 days, EMSMC will attempt to resolve the balance. So it's after it's gone through insurance, there's a balance left over for 90 days. They will make several attempts to come to some sort of resolution to get the balance paid off. Once they get to that point, we need to decide what we want to do with the balance. So if somebody paid, their insurance paid all but $300 of it, for example, what would you like to do to recover that $300 that's left? So a couple different options that we could take. There is a state debt collection that I understand the police department uses for citations when people need to pay their tickets and they have not done so. Sarah and I have talked about looking into if the village has to create another account or if we could use the same account because it's the same municipality to essentially use our non-payment people to go into that. Another option could be after 90 days, we just send it right to the debt collection. And we don't involve the board in that decision, the village board, if it's gonna go there, it just automatically goes right to the debt collection. Another option could be after the 90 days, they will submit the information to us, we will try to figure out a way if we can get a payment plan or some way that they're gonna rectify that outstanding bill. And if we can't, then we'd either go to the village board to write it off, or they can send it to collections.
The Jeff's on page 12 of the.
Right, this is all those three options that you laid out. So, and it's 90 days, so they have, it's like a year or like, what was it? It's not 90 days from, it's 90 days from when, I guess.
So 90 days from when they get the information from us, so we submit it within 30 days of the call happening.
Okay,
Then they will attempt for 90 days to get collection from the person, run it through insurance, satisfy the bill.
but they're going through a third party first.
That's correct.
So they go through the third party.
Yes.
So, and let's say, so we have a $1,400 charge. And they go to the third party pays
Some
$1,000,
portion.
because there's a $400 deductible,
Sure.
right? So we get that paid, and that takes 6 months, right?
That can take up to 6 months. Yeah.
So we're 6 months out, and then they've received our billing company has received $1,000 check, and they let us know, and then that's when the 90 days clock starts ticking.
Yes, so once they make that payment, they hit the 6 months, then they, for 90 days, will try to contact the person and say, hey, here's the balance that you still owe. I don't know what exactly they attempt to do during that 90 days, but I know it is multiple attempts. It's not just they sent the person an email, called them one time and said, well, they have 90 days. They do make multiple attempts to satisfy that outstanding balance. And then we're at the point of once we hit that 90 days. What happens when we hit 90 days and EMSMC says we're not going to spend our time anymore trying to collect this?
Right. And so that's making sense now because these patients, they would have just gotten a direct bill. That patient probably would have gotten a direct bill from the company in May. And now we're, 90 days, long now, 90 days after that, so that's why they're listing as a write-off, because they've
Yes.
tried for 90 days.
So they try for 90 days, and there's nothing in place right now for what we do beyond that 90 days.
So we've got 3 from 2025 that would be in there, and probably that one, those insurance ones as well. Well, they still got those listed as balance due. So does that mean they're still working on those?
It could, yeah, if it's not saying right off, then yes.
And then I see a write-off under Medicare Advantage too. And I'm not familiar with Medicare Advantage and how it works, but does that mean that if some sort of a deductible under Medicare Advantage for that person?
There is a certain amount saying that they will pay out, if they haven't messed it.
In addition to Medicare.
Yes,
Right?
It's a supplemental.
yes.
And the patient pays part of that, right? So, okay. So we have a few that are on the table right now that would be subject to this.
Yes, yeah.
So one question, the Medicare and the Medicare Advantage, they're both, after they pay out, we're not allowed to.
That's correct, yeah.
Right. For both of those.
So the next step would be is you would send these to that state debt collection.
If that's the option you choose,
And that has to be like proactively, we have to send it. It doesn't automatically happen. It would have to be you would.
sir,
Yeah, we need, specific information, whether it's, probably social security numbers, names, dollar amounts in order to submit that debt to the program.
Okay.
And it's through my tax account, the Department of Revenue's online portal.
Okay.
Is that easy to do?
Police department currently, the court currently does it for the police department.
So there's existing processes in the village.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
The only other option that is out there that I did not put on here is that EMSMC does partner with a debt collection company. The problem with that is they're gonna take 20%. They have the same avenues that the state debt collection has. I think you're paying 20% towards something that we don't need to if we go that.
Yeah.
And do we know what happens? What happens with the state debt collection? Do we know how that process works?
Sarah probably is more.
Yeah, so state debt collection has, they actually have 2 programs. The state debt collection program they can garnish wages, they can seize bank
So
accounts.
they have authorities.
Yes, and we submitting as a municipality, while we might be below something like child support, we are in that kind of tiered level for being paid.
So it sounds to me like it is, the state debt collection is an advantage because we're a municipality. Not everybody can use this. And is probably better at debt collection
Yes,
than going to a private source anyway, for which we would pay them 20% of what we get, so.
Yeah, that doesn't
Yeah.
seem like that makes any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And the fee associated with it is passed on to the person they're collecting, I believe.
yes.
There's a fee from the state, but it goes to them.
Yeah, it's $35 if it's under $233. It's over $233, it's 15% of the balance.
Oh.
That the person they're collecting it from this.
What would be, so I'm just trying to think through, so you got option 1 and option 2 both go to state collection, and then third one is sort of more of the friendly, trying to just negotiate. So set that one aside for a minute and just think about the first 2. What would be mitigating factors that would cause, so if it went to the board or even if it went to this committee for a decision, that would, ultimately you're thinking, okay, we might waive it in a certain case or something. What would be the mitigating factors that would be criteria that we used to review something like that?
Generally, something you hear is financial hardship is the most sought after reason that people try to get them erased. It's kind of hard to establish. I don't know how you'd want to truly make somebody believe or provide proof of financial hardship to write it off. And that's why I left it on there as an option to say,
Yeah.
okay, do we want to try and after that 90 days make some sort of resolution, or do we want it to just simply go to the debt collection?
Sir, how does the state debt collection handle stuff like that? Assume people claim financial hardship all the time.
Well, we have to make notification before we would do anything with sending it to state debt collection. I
Okay,
assume the same way, state debt collection probably sends them something saying that they're collecting a debt on our behalf. And then I'm assuming that they would tell them the methodology of how they are planning on doing that.
is that like, because they go to court? And then that would be the judge would decide.
No, there isn't a court process, so
Well, for like, I'm thinking of the current way we do it now, where it's like you get a speeding
Oh.
ticket, you say,
yeah, or people
woes
don't,
me, yeah,
don't show up.
yeah.
And then we have to send them a letter saying, you are past due. If you do not pay within 30 days, your debt will be sent to the state debt collection program, which can include garnishing of wages, seizing of items, things like that.
And if somebody came to the judge and said, I can't pay this, but I'll pay that, and the judge says, you pay this, so there's somebody making that decision on like the, I guess, criminal side of it right now, but we don't have any structure for that, and that's where the village board would have to then become that decision-making process.
Yeah, and with the court, they have a financial hardship form that you have to fill out. So if you're claiming financial hardship, you have to provide financial data to the court for them to grant an exception.
So the other consideration is to let's think about, so a person who has Medicare is only paying $100. Person with insurance is paid $1,000. So, but then you're gonna collect another 400 from that person that paid $1,000, but you're not gonna collect anything from the person in town that had only $250. Because they were Medicare. So that's the other consideration. Do you want to go after someone in town, even though the insurance company paid, 3 or 4 times as much as Medicare paid for the same service, and then you're asking them to go after them for another $400. So again, that's the other consideration to think about.
This is a stupid question, but are the billings to just village residents or just to a non-village residents?
It's anybody.
It's
that gets
anybody, so
transferred by our EMS.
If you went to my house and did something for me and helped me, then I would get a bill being a resident.
There's a non-resident charge.
Yes,
though.
those three.
B is different.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Difference
Okay.
between the two,
Okay,
It's like 1,000 versus 1,500,
Yeah.
right, or something like that.
1,014, I believe it is.
So if you're a renter.
I saw that.
Or
Okay.
something, or I'm just thinking.
If you're a renter.
Non-residents or.
If you're a renter, you're a resident.
You're a resident, okay.
So I saw on page 10, there's a financial hardship and waiver request through the billing company. it looked like.
They do have one. But I believe that is if you have their, I believe that's tied to their debt collection.
Oh, their own product.
Yeah.
Their own
So-
process.
That's included in there, from
90
their,
days, that 90-day period,
yep,
okay.
but like I said, we don't have anything right now, so. The financial hardship for us is not part of the billing process right now.
So one thing that we could build in a process, but we'll say we'd send them a letter. And then send them a form or say, if you want to claim financial hardship, here's the form, submit it within 30 days, then that would be reviewed potentially by the board. Before it went to state debt, right, that could be an.
Yeah, cause I don't know on our side, if we submitted it, what would happen when it goes to state, I don't know if there's a person there that would. Have that same view that the judge would have on it and say, I think it would just go
Yeah.
right to being collected.
Yeah.
So there wouldn't be a
There would
financial
not, I
hardship
don't believe so.
process, so that's something to think about that we could. Look at doing, that would seem to be, if we're gonna go with number one, I think that would make sense, because there has to be a criteria, there has to be something that the board reviews. Right, it can't just be, oh, I know this person, so.
Yeah, and that's a tough thing too, cause I've worked in municipalities where they say, well, if it's a village resident, we just write it off, and if it's not, we don't, I think that's kind of a slippery slope to get in,
Yeah.
I don't know that I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think, you gotta pay your bills, in general, I guess, if you have an insurance, even if you have a deductible, I have a deductible, I pay the deductible. I wouldn't expect it to be written off, so. But I understand if someone has an ability to pay. And it can be verified, then I think being lenient and finding ways to work with people. Also makes sense.
Maybe I'm not understanding, but the write-offs are because people haven't paid their deductible?
It could be that they've paid their bills, gone through the insurance company's paid what they're
Right.
paid. And then there's still a balance left, so.
Okay, so it's
they-
not that. Like if they pay their deductible,
This is a little bit different than like a hospital, so a
Okay.
hospital, they have Blue Cross Blue Shield. And they negotiate with Blue Cross Blue Shield how much they'll accept from Blue Cross Blue Shield.
yes,
So when Blue Cross Blue Shield pays the hospital, that's at the end of the bill, you don't see it anymore.
and the
But this
hospital
is
just
different
writes it
because we
off.
haven't negotiated with any Blue Cross Blue Shield, so we're saying the cost of the service is such and such.
Hmm,
Your insurance is paying such and such, but then you owe us the difference. We haven't negotiated with anyone to pay the
Okay.
service. So it's a little bit different than your health insurance. So, and that's why, I mean, a lot of it is up to us. Do we want to charge our neighbors if they paid $1,000? Do we really want to? And then if we do write that off, and if someone has no insurance, should we only ask them to pay $1,000? So
Well,
there's all these
here's-
little things in between.
Here's a case when the patient charge where someone got a bill for $1,090 and paid it. Obviously, and then someone got a bill for $1,400 and didn't pay it. So is it fair to the person who just wrote the check for $1,000?
mhm.
For the service? So I think, you can look at it a lot of different ways. I mean, I think we have to have a process. We have to be able to collect when it's warranted, and I think. I think I like the idea of the review and the waiver process, the hardship waiver as a sort of a backstop that allows the village to make a decision based on some, as long as we have good, clear criteria.
So if I understand it, before this, we just wrote everything off.
There was no debt collection process before this.
Okay.
So, basically EMSMC would do what they need to do for those 90 days, they would
Mhm.
attempt to do it, and then there was just no process before this.
How much a year did that represent?
I can get you the data from all. the
Just
back when we
basically.
started.
No, just.
20,000, 100,000,
Well,
1 year?
I would guess you're somewhere about 10,000.
Okay, thanks.
That we were expecting to write off? Because I sort of kind of remember the conversation when I think EMC or EMSMC was here. It really did not seem this kind of huge write-off category. Was that they would,
I've seen some write-offs that are pretty small. I've seen
Yeah.
some collection percentages that are low rate. I've seen collection percentages that are like 90%.
yeah,
That's a unicorn. They're out there, but there's not a lot of them out there that can get that kind of collection. That's pretty good. You know that you're gonna be writing some of the stuff off. I agree that having some sort of mechanism would be nice to decide. I just need you to decide what you want those parameters to be, so I can draft something that look for vote on that.
and just so like what you're saying is like essentially Medicare, we bill it, we write off the rest. There's really nothing we can do about it.
Yes.
The Medicare
We can do about it.
Advantage,
Same thing.
same thing. Medicaid, which we have gotten zero, looks like, but would also be the same thing.
Yeah.
There's 4% of us that
Yeah.
Medicaid and managed care.
So insurance, that's where this is really a collectible. And
Yes.
right now,
Or someone without
And the direct
insurance
patient.
that doesn't have Medicare, Medicaid.
okay,
Those two would be the insured patients and the patients that are just direct bill that don't have insurance or have probably a high deductible insurance.
Have a high deductible, it's cheaper for them
Yeah.
to just pay the $1,000, right?
and so like, just, I mean, on the insurance side, we're getting collections of 56 or 76%. Like, that's actually good. And we should not be sitting here being like, wow, we're doing terrible at that. Like, that's good or above average is what.
I'm happy to see 76.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think 76 is pretty good.
And then on the patient side, this is where we're getting down like with the 23%. And that is like where the patient didn't have insurance or didn't want.
Or they had like that 76%, that's where the insurance paid.
Okay,
But they may have an insurance policy that the insurance doesn't pay until they spend $6,000 or something.
okay, so that's
So
like,
that would be why it's only 76%, so insurance paid 76, but whoever had that insurance, maybe a percentage of them, would go into their deductible, what they owe.
so does some of the, like, whatever is not paid on the insurance side roll into then the patient column here? Is that what we're seeing in these numbers too, or is that,
Yeah.
because I'm not seeing anything where it's like,
Yeah.
That
250, like, just numbers that. are easy to sort of see.
If they have insurance, they probably would show up under the insurance block
Okay.
there, and then if they are private pay, they would show up under the patient. Is how I would interpret it.
And just to, so I understand, like, I feel like private pay is like you're either uber wealthy or you have no money.
Yeah, that's fairly accurate. You know, you can just pay the $1,000 and you're not worried about it. Or you just don't have insurance at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just rolling the dice that you're not gonna need
You
this.
might have like a
business.
savings account or something.
You're paying out of it, as you just say.
Yourself, you're owning your own business and
Yeah.
you know, you might have a catastrophic insurance policy that's gonna pay, you know, for if you get a heart attack or whatever, get cancer, but then for the normal stuff, it's not gonna pay anything, and so then you pay out of pocket.
Okay.
So those are the folks that are gonna be the ones that we're gonna see in this
Yeah.
process, I think, most of.
Yeah,
Your
and how, and the
26
question.
and a half year old, you know,
Right.
who is, you know,
Invincible.
yeah, well, but you know, just
And
got kicked
also-
off of their parents. and-
Yeah,
right.
right,
Saw
doesn't know what they're
$1,000.
doing and
Yeah.
doesn't wanna go in the marketplace,
Could be.
or finds out that their premiums are gonna be sky
Yeah.
high, so.
Yeah.
I guess the question is, in this category, how do you find out who are the uber wealthy and who are not? Cause the
Well,
uber wealthy
right.
ones, we definitely should
Yeah, yeah.
get the money from.
And that's a tough thing, and that's why I think having something to prove financial hardship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
The
what you do is you
process.
send them a letter. When we get it from the EMS billing, and you say, here's the process, here's what you owe, and here's the process to claim financial hardship, you have 30 days. And then once you get that, then that gets it put on the board's agenda. Or it gets reviewed at this committee, I mean, or what we think, I mean, we could take that issue to the board and see what they wanna do.
I
And
would,
you could have the chairman of the committee go knock on the door.
With a baseball bat and some brass knuckles, you know?
I would just be concerned with reviewing that kind of data in an open meeting.
That's true. But we could do a closed session. Closed session.
Would it fall under?
If it would
statute
qualify.
for it?
You could have staff review it and provide a recommendation based upon guidelines.
And I'd be comfortable doing that, to be honest. I mean, that's why I put it in there, having that 30 days of us trying to make contact with the person. If we have a form, a financial hardship form, whatever their situation may be, that way hopefully it's not every month that it's happening, but whenever it is coming up, I can submit something to the board saying, we have this one, it went through the process, we're now at that 30-day mark where we've attempted to, here's all the information. And at that point, it's the board's decision if they want to say, we're gonna write that off, or no, we're gonna send it to state collection. And I'm okay doing that if that's the route that you wanna take.
If,
How many, looking at the data right now, how many of these?
Less than 10 a year. It's not,
It's not a huge stat.
No.
and can we
So
make
that's
it,
number 3 of your.
It'd be, I think,
Three
maybe
options,
modify it slightly so that maybe start with the letter,
Mhm.
give them a process to claim financial hardship,
Yeah,
maybe do a follow-up. I think a payment plan, if that can be arranged, you know, you guys have.
Is that something that we can do with a person? Say they have a balance of $400 and we work something out that they can pay.
Yeah, I'm sure we can. It's just somebody then now needs to keep track of that, follow up with that, so.
And from a process standpoint, this would align with the clerk of court's duties. Clearly, it's a different line of authorities, but Rachel is
Similar.
doing that
okay.
for the court.
Yeah.
So the process would be similar, but it would be outside of the court process.
is that something she'd have the capacity to do, or are we just voting? Okay,
10 a year. I think one of the key components, what it makes me think of is like when we do background checks for people to want liquor licenses, for example. We don't bring all of our findings for those background investigations in an open meeting. We do that background and then provide a justification if there's a denial that's in alignment with some sort of parameters that are established in the guide.
So it's objective and it's.
Yeah, I mean, like, it could be auditable with someone with the appropriate level of clearance, but we're not subjecting, people's private information in a public meeting.
I'm just, My guess would be when we get to the point of getting these back from EMSMC, it's gonna be. We've either had no contact with the person, they've just ducked us, and it's gonna be something where I'm probably not gonna have any luck for 30 days getting a hold of the person. And it's just gonna be, yeah, it's just going to collections, cause it's just gonna be that simple, because I'm not gonna be able to track a person down or work something out with them. I think there's very few of those numbers that would actually hit to me dealing with it, where it's gonna be like, oh yeah, we worked something out with this person, we're gonna put them on a payment plan. I think it's gonna be very few of those.
Sarah, could you give a kind of an understanding from a just anecdotal kind of observation of how often do you have people working out payment plans? What percentage would you say?
I would say the initial, when they come to court and they want to make a payment plan, you know, they're eager to do that, and then they're gone, they're off the grid. They never make a payment as promised. They end up going to SBC.
Reality, okay.
It sounds great.
So it's not the
It gets you out of the
same.
heat in the moment.
Yeah.
This is not the same, but it's just kind of
Yeah.
staff.
Most of the people that live in your town. Not gonna-
Yeah,
I would think the majority of them that were to get there probably not gonna be residents.
Yeah,
my
I would
guess.
agree.
okay. So what, I mean, what, if, what's your preference here of these three?
I would alter 3 a little bit.
Okay.
I think that after 30 days, I think that's more than enough time, because they had 90 days of the MSMC attempting. If I'm attempting for 30 days, and I can't, if I'm to the point of I can't even get them to fill out a financial hardship form or work out a payment. To me, I think that's a pretty easy one that's gonna go to debt collection.
So we, like, someone proposed this, so, you know, slightly modify number 3, where after the 90 days, you'd send a letter. Offer a process for financial hardship, whether that's a form or something. And then follow up as necessary for that 30-day period. And then after 30 days, if nothing, then they go to state debt, they go to SDC. Or if they have submitted something, they haven't claimed, then I guess now at the point, is that something we go to the board with? Is that what you're recommending?
Would the
Or
board-
do we
would-
handle it at the staff
Hopefully
level?
the board would be okay with that if we, after we set up 30 days, they come up with some sort of I can pay you blank dollars per month. Do you need the board's approval for that, or is that?
That's a question. I don't know. I can't speak for the board and what the board would want to be involved in. I don't know that it would. Sarah, is it necessary to have the board involved?
I think we talked about the financial hardship is probably the only thing where they're actually like writing off a portion of it or not collecting a portion of it. A payment plan, you know, I think, okay, if they promise to pay in 30 days, they don't pay after that 30 days, well, we're gonna try it, yeah. we're gonna
Right, that
try it.
one's, yeah, that one can go. It's the one, when they have submitted something. I guess the question is that something that we're all comfortable just being reviewed and a decision made at the staff level, or should it go to this committee or the board for some kind of like external, just, you know, review? I don't know.
And then a majority of all payments for a year.
Per
Am I
year.
right?
Yes,
Okay. I wouldn't think that the board would need to make a decision on.
my gut is staff should be able to handle.
So staff review and then maybe just report it as part of your normal. work.
You can do that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I just can't imagine shoehorning that into the board,
Yeah.
as well.
What?
I can't imagine really anybody overriding that. So,
No.
okay. That we're good. So if you make those edits, and then everyone, I mean, we don't really vote on this. There's an action, or do you want to vote on it?
No, I don't have it on the agenda for an action item, but, you know, I think we could modify this. Maybe we'll come with a sample financial hardship form for you all to look at. It should come with a sample letter, what that first letter is gonna look like. I don't know if Jeff's gonna do it or if we're gonna have Rachel do it. Just so that you can review those.
Okay. Can we forward that to the board so the board needs to sign off on this?
Yes, yeah,
Once we have it all.
absolutely.
Okay. Right.
So I'm thinking when you have your meeting in
December?
You want to schedule a special meeting in December?
Don't we have a board meeting in December?
Well, I didn't know if you wanted this committee to meet again to take
Um,
action on it as an official recommendation to the board.
I don't wanna wait until like whenever the next time we're gonna meet, which would be like February. I think I'd rather just, do we, could we just send around the final for just review on, just people see it? Or is that violating anything?
No, staff can circulate, staff can definitely circulate, and receive feedback back to us. So we
Okay.
can collect it, what we can't have is everyone on the committee kind of talking in email.
Right, okay. So how about this, we'll circulate the final to the committee, send the feedback back to the staff, which will pilot, give it to me, and then well, you and I, and then when we put it on the board, we can present that feedback along with the final. So if we can accomplish that by December, great. If not, then maybe January. But yeah, I'd love to just get this, I think it's what we talked about. Everybody okay with that? Any dissent?
And the summary of like what the revised number 3 will be sent out to.
Yeah, the revised
Okay.
policy, will
No, that-
revise, it'll delete number 1 and number 2. And then just have a revision of number 3
And a
And the final.
sample letter
and sample letter.
and a sample hardship.
Oh, it should be an
form.
attachment to the policy.
Yeah, yeah.
And the form.
Jeff, do you think there will need to be any kind of, I use the word guidelines again, but guidelines on how, what validates a hardship?
Well, I think that's where the sample financial hardship, I think there has to be something in there that's very easy, essentially a checklist of these things happening, which puts it into, yes, we are gonna say it's gonna be a write-off.
Category.
Or no, we're gonna pursue it for collections. I gotta be honest, I think it's very few that would be a write-off scenario.
How do the courts do it?
How do the courts do it?
So they have to fill out a form and I can give Jeff the form. We can talk about it, modify it for how it might apply to this situation. And then the judge makes the determination like in court on.
Judgments.
It's just a, he
Yeah.
doesn't have the set criteria, he just decides.
We want to have some metrics that are more clearly defined.
And in some situations, there is only like a 50% reduction. It's not like it's totally forgiven.
Right.
And so I guess why like would there like the village attorney, does they bring charges or if there is some kind of to actually have where they're like to bring it before a judge, like how does like would we be able to do that in this situation where somebody makes a
Well,
financial hardship?
The individual shows up in court with the
Yeah.
form and the documentation to say they have a financial hardship. Now, we probably wouldn't need them to come into our office and show us, but they would have to provide some type of documentation.
And are the people like, I guess when you get a citation,
Because there
Yeah.
was a citation or,
like do we issue a summons or like how do we get the person to
It's
besides?
just the ticket that they
Okay.
are either given in person or.
well, it's all in the same process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And so that's
and
why
we don't have that here.
that's why I keep saying like some sort of guidelines and parameters that direct staff and make it a clear decision, so it's. And then we can run that by the village attorney so that the calculus is correct.
Okay, that makes sense. And we can review that. And it's probably gonna be iterative, you might get a couple of these and then realize you missed something, we need to add
Yeah.
something or change something, so that's fine too. Okay. Great, we'll look for that. Setting my papers on. Where are we at?
Interim fire chiefs.
Interim fire chief's report.
Um,
I just put your report in there from the
This thing.
Yeah.
board meeting.
No problem.
So we had a oddly busy October. There's just generally no rhyme or reason why some months are busier than others. But we responded to about double what we normally do in October. Our response times in October were pretty good, 4 minutes and 1 second, from the time of the alert to on scene. Hired a couple new, paid on call people. The good thing is, all of them came with certifications already. Someone from Connecticut, who just moved to the area and someone who lives in this area already. She's a personal trainer, and she said several of this staff on the board are actually her clients, so that's what drove her here. We also are doing a background check coming up here for a paid on or a part-time duty officer. He was a duty officer here for a few years, very great person. We lost him to Alaska. He took a fire chief job up there, and after 3 years, he decided Alaska is not his thing. And he came back to this area, contacted me, and asked if we'd take him back. And I said, absolutely, it's just a great wealth of knowledge. He'll be going through a background check. We have another person who applied for a duty officer as well that I have to meet with this coming Sunday. So we're gonna kind of discuss with him the position a little bit. He was a captain at Sun Prairie neighboring fire department. A lot of experience that he's been doing this 22 years, so he'll probably be a great addition as well. Training updates, a lot of it is geared on the new engine. They've been taking the engine out pretty much daily now, doing pumping with it, driving with it. Luckily, we have a house at 51 Fuller Drive that's coming up for a tear down. And we're planning on utilizing that for pulling lines and doing some other stuff. Just wait until he gets one more thing to us before we start destroying his house. Because I want to be sure that that's not going to be an issue.
So it's my old house, a childhood home, so.
Is it really?
Yeah, so
Down by the lake.
I might be able to, if I could come back and,
You didn't leave
I
me,
did break some of this
you
stuff,
didn't leave me anything in the basement, did you?
not in the basement.
Okay.
There's some notches in the.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, it's, yeah.
Yeah, from what I understand, he's waiting on one more thing. But once he gets it, we're gonna be in there for quite a bit, and I believe 507 firewall is another one that's coming up. Hopefully be able to get in that one as well. And most of our winter months will be taken up with houses, which is great. The engine is actually gone now. They're doing pump training with it at the college. So we have 7 people right now who are completing driver operator. So we're allowing them to do the pumping portion with it so they get used to it. Just was not 100% comfortable with them driving it quite yet, considering they're just finishing the class. So they're doing the driving portion in a different engine. That covers the operations part. And the last thing was our open house was really great, considering the weather was not fantastic, but we have a lot of ideas for next year. We had quite a few families come out from 8 to noon. It was really good for them to see the station, come around, get tours. We're going to be actually introducing the new engine. We were hoping to have it there, but timing didn't work out. So when we have the Christmas tree lighting, that's going to be Santa's new sleigh this year. So we're going to have it all up and running for him, and that's our plan.
All right, thanks. Any questions for?
Oh, did you bring up Steve? Sorry, I missed it.
Steve Pilsner?
Yeah.
We have one duty officer who is finally retiring. Steve has been in the fire service, I believe he told me 32 years.
Wow.
He's been at Madison College a long time as well. Before that, he was working up in Wausau as a firefighter paramedic, took a full-time teaching job at Madison College. Steve bought a house in Florida a couple months ago. I understand. So he is got to establish residency in Florida. So he's got to be down there quite a bit. And he just said, I feel like I'm at the point where I need to hang up fire and EMS. And he's going to continue to teach 1 day a month, I believe, at the college. But that's kind of the last thing he's holding on to in retirement.
Tomorrow's his last day with the village.
Tomorrow's his last 24-hour shift.
Please give him our best.
Yeah,
It's a long time.
Yeah,
32
that
years,
is.
Yeah.
that's great.
But I get it. He's ready.
Yeah.
He said he's 57. He's like, I don't want to crawl around anymore. I'm like, I
Yeah,
get it. I get it. I understand. But yeah.
Right, thanks. Any questions? I'll just add I thought the open house was awesome. I mean, you guys did a really nice job of finding fun little activities for people. I used to
Kids love that
for
stuff.
sure. It was really fun. All right, thanks. And then, so last thing I think is chair's report.
Yep.
So the only thing I have to report is, so just an update from the last meeting. We were talking about the fire department study that village president had asked Dr. McKenna and I to be involved with. So I just get an update from, I reached out to our village administrator to kind of see where we were at. So, and Tanner's response is that right now it's kind of paused while we are beginning the strategic planning process. You probably all saw the email. If you didn't see that, you got an email asking for responses to a survey. So until right now, any further review of service models will depend on the direction that comes out of the village's strategic planning process. It will provide necessary community input and context to determine whether additional analysis is appropriate. So that's where the focus is now. There are questions on that survey that get to some of those issues. So encourage everybody to take the survey, and then I think there's going to be some other opportunities for feedback and
Yeah.
public forums later. So that's where we're at with that. And then I know as far as the recruitment, we did not have a successful recruitment. We did not get a qualified candidate. So that recruitment was discontinued. And thankfully, interim chief Drager has agreed to serve as interim chief for the next year or so. Thank you so much.
We really appreciate
Really
it.
appreciate that. So that'll give the village time to complete the strategic
Mhm.
planning process and complete the analysis. Move forward. So thank you. Any questions? I believe that concludes our agenda. So with that, I'll take a motion to.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Have a good
you.
night.